Hello everyone, and welcome to Reading with Olan. Today we are going to do chapter 3 of Little Kid's First Big Book of Dinosaurs. Before we start, please like and subscribe to my channel and have a great time with me. Now let's start reading. Myosaurus was a good mother. Like all dinosaurs, Myosaura laid eggs. Most meat eaters' eggs were long and thin. Plant eaters like Myosaura laid rounder eggs. These dinosaurs were too big to sit on their eggs and keep them warm. Instead, Myosaura mothers covered their eggs with leaves. Mother Myosaura brought food to their babies while they were still in the nest. Facts: when it lived, late Cretaceous. Food: plants. Size: bigger than a human. Iguanodon has spiked hands. Iguanodon has spikes on its hands. The spikes were in the place where thumbs might be, but were actually part of the dinosaur's wrist bones. Iguanodon may have used its thumbs to stab a predator if it attacked. Iguanodon had 3 strong fingers and a long little finger. The first flowering plants appeared at about the same time that Iguanodon lived. Facts: when it lived, early Cretaceous. Food: plants. Size: bigger than a human. Ankylosaurus had an armored body. Ankylosaurus had a strong body covered with tough armor. This dinosaur moved slowly. It did not run away from trouble. It depended on its hard body for protection. Even its eyelids were covered with armor. A Tyrannosaurus, such as the one in the picture on the left, would have had a hard time biting through the armored Ankylosaurus. You can read more about Tyrannosaurus on page 100. The tail of the Ankylosaurus has a hard, bony club on the end of it. When facing an enemy such as a giant crocodile, an Ankylosaurus could use its heavy tail to hit the attacker. Facts: when it lived, late Cretaceous. Food: plants. Size: bigger than a human. Cetosaurus had a unicorn. Let's go. Cetosaurus had a long bone that stuck out from its forehead, making it look a bit like a unicorn. But unicorns are make-believe. Cetosaurus were real. Paleontologists have to find more than one fossil skull before they were convinced that the long bone really grew from the dinosaur's forehead. Cetosaurus horns may have been a decoration that made the dinosaurs attractive to each other. Facts: when it lived, late Cretaceous. Food: plants. Size: bigger than a human. Lesemsaurus was a big eater. Big dinosaurs ate big meals. Lesensaurus had to eat a lot of plants like the cycads it is eating in the picture. As you know, there are no more dinosaurs like Lesensaurus. But did you know that there were dinosaurs on Earth for about 160 million years? That is such a long time, it is almost impossible to imagine. Lesensaurus was named for dino expert Don Lesen, who has written more than 40 books about dinosaurs. Facts: when it lived. Late Triassic, in the beginning of the time of dinosaurs. Food: plants, size, bigger than a human. Basically, every next dinosaur you see will be bigger than a human, so do not be surprised. Margosaurus had an axial. This dinosaur's long neck and back were decorated with what looks like a sail. Stiff spines held up a Margosaurus's sail. No one knows for sure why a Margosaurus had the big sail. It might have scared away enemies, or it may have helped keep the big animal cool. Some of the spines on the Margosaurus were as tall as a 10-year-old. A Margosaurus may have used its long tail like a whip to protect itself from attackers. Facts: when it lived. Early Cretaceous. Food: plants, size, be bigger than a human. Rheosaurus was the first giant dino. This giant dinosaur was one of the first really big plant eaters. It had a long, thin neck and tail. Its body and legs were heavy. Small dinosaurs could walk on 2 legs, but Rheosaurus walked on all 4 legs. The giant and gigantic dinosaurs had to walk on 4 legs because 2 legs could not hold up all their weight. Many dinosaur names end in saurus. Saurus means lizard. Facts: when it lived. Late Triassic. Food: plants, size, bigger than a human. Yanchuanosaurus was a scary dino. Yanchuanosaurus was so powerful it could kill prey much larger than itself. One of the dinosaurs that had to watch out for this meat eater was the gigantic Mamenchisaurus, which you can see on page 111. The 2 dinosaurs lived in the same place at the same time. Facts: when it lived. Late Jurassic. Food: meat, size, bigger than a human. A construction worker in China found the first skeleton of Yanchuanosaurus while digging to build a dam. Big teeth and big claws made Tyrannosaurus a great predator. Facts. I already said that. Tyrannosaurus had huge claws. Even though this dinosaur had huge claws, Tyrannosaurus was not a meat-eating predator. It was a plant eater. It also may have eaten insects such as ants and needles. Its big claws would have been handy for digging in the ground to find insects. Tyrannosaurus's claws were 3 feet long. That's a little longer than 3 copies of this book side by side. Facts. When it lived, late Cretaceous food, plants and insects, size bigger than a human. Acrocanthosaurus had eye ridges. Acrocanthosaurus peered out of eyes that had bony ridges around them. This dinosaur had very strong muscles in its neck and back. Acrocanthosaurus was one of the biggest meat-eating dinosaurs. It was not a fast runner, but it was powerful and could kill prey bigger than itself. Acrocanthosaurus had 38 sharp teeth in its upper jaw. Acrocanthosaurus hunted other kinds of dinosaurs, like the one in the background, for dinner. Facts. When it lived, early Cretaceous food, meat, size bigger than a human. Spinosaurus had a long jaw. Spinosaurus had a long jaw like a crocodile's. It caught fish to eat. Do you remember a Margosaurus on page 84? It looked a little like a Spinosaurus. They both had long spines and scales on their back. This dinosaur was a meat eater. Margosaurus was a plant eater. The 2 dinosaurs didn't live at the same time. Spinosaurus lived later. The spines on Spinosaurus's back reached 7 feet high, taller than almost any human. Facts. When it lived, late Cretaceous, food, meat, size bigger than a human. Edmontosaurus was a herd traveler. Every year, Edmontosaurus traveled long distances to find food. This kind of travel is called migration. Edmontosaurus migrated in large herds. Edmontosaurus had hundreds of diamond-shaped teeth. It used its teeth to grind the tough plants it ate. Edmontosaurus herds walked more than 1,000 miles a year. It would take a whole day and night to go that far in a car. Facts. When it lived, like Cretaceous, food, plants, size bigger than a human. Shunnosaurus had a club tail. There was a bony lump on the end of Shunnosaurus' tail. The huge dinosaur could swing its tail and hit enemies with the hard end. Workers digging in China found the fossils of several entire Tyrannosaurus in one place. Finding a whole fossilized dinosaur is rare. Facts. When it lived, Middle Jurassic. Food, plants, size, bigger than a human. In this picture, pterosaurs swoop under the Tyrannosaurus's long tail. Tyrannosaurus was the dinosaur king. Tyrannosaurus was one of the most famous dinosaurs. Dinosaurs. It was a fierce hunter with long, sharp teeth. The jaws of the Tyrannosaurus were very strong. The dinosaur could use its jaws to crush animals it caught for food. Tyrannosaurus could have gulped down some smaller animals without even chewing. Tyrannosaurus' teeth were the size of bananas. Facts. When it lived, late Cretaceous. Food, meat, size, bigger than a human. And that was chapter 3 of Little Kid's First Big Book of Dinosaurs. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time for the last chapter.